Okay, the weird slow drag. Let's start here. These guys were in charge formation, the Spanish cav here. They had trouble getting out of it and had to do an attack, but they also, I think, got a continuation where they got themselves into receive charge, did a little bit of repair work, still fighting. Then over here, this wing, similarly very slow, 1 hex forward per turn, 2 charge activations, then they got themselves into make ready, which isn't optimal. I think these guys went to make ready instead of receive charge. I think I just put the wrong counter down. No, they were in receive charge. That's important because they've got somebody back here who was recovering. Anyway, they tried to reduce this as much as possible. They lost a unit to a charge from the Swedes here, driven off the board. Anyway, we're seeing this this colonel. I forgot to route him last time. He's sitting on top of a routed unit, so I moved him. This is some light infantry that got routed. His command over here is just getting crushed very slowly, but we've got the main Horn's main infantry moving up, and we've got another infantry wing coming up here. We'll see what that can do. To me, though, it looks like just, sheer numbers are going to decide this eventually. Historically, the Swedes did very, very, very poorly. I don't think I'm doing anywhere near that poorly. You can kind of see the Cav battle. I'd say the Swedes are doing a little better than average, but if they can't take that ground, no matter how you cut this, it's not going to be a victory for them. I know that some of the other designers of the later games suggested, hey, this scenario is just so unbalanced. Make the breastworks and everything on the hills worth like 5 victory points each or something, and it'll make it a lot easier. And I probably will consider that kind of scoring in there when I look at the final score, but I'm also going to score it according to the game itself. In a lot of ways, you can kind of, not worry about the game aspects of it and just look at the situation and say, they did fairly well, actually. Given that they pressed so hard, I wouldn't say they're doing terribly here. Anyway, now we're over to a make ready over on the Swedish side, and I think I got 2 of them. And at the end of 8, things still going pretty slowly here. A bunch of reforming type action taking place in the center here. This Bernard's taking command of this light dragoon unit to try to get it back into shape where it can maybe do something. Those are pretty useless. It's probably a waste, but what else can he do? He's already rallied this. He could get this into... he could have gotten it into open order so it could make it up the hill easier. And these guys are not going to be up there very quickly, though. I've got these guys here unable to get into charge, so they couldn't move forward and clear the hill. And some of the others, the Cav in here, for example, didn't really want to get there. For the Catholics, the only real big move... Oh, I haven't done him yet. The only real big move they've done is limbered their guns and prepared to move them into a position here so that they can conduct an artillery duel with the Swedes once they clear the hill. So if that gets set up in time, that's going to make this whole Albach advance somewhat less valuable than it seemed at first. Of course, it's much easier maybe to pivot if I could win this battle here. There's a lot of force, though, and I feel heavily outnumbered by the Catholic troops there. So, I don't know. Anyway, I got this rally to take care of here. Alright, starting off turn 9, things got a little crazy over here. I think they got into kind of a reforming type situation. This is attached to the Cav up here. That's what I just did. I'm looking to see if there's anyone else who's activated. I don't think so. I think this was the next thing I went to, and they managed to get into a charge and shot their way up. Now, in doing so, they knocked out this colonel here, who was the next unit to be activated, but we'll get to that. So that's not going to get activated. In fact, I thought I could trump in with him, but he's not around. And there's nothing else I really want to, because you're at a reduced effectiveness trumping in with you know, things like receive charge or whatever, and I didn't really want to lose the movement advantages. I could have trumped in with someone like this. He doesn't really hurt. He's not doing anything. Attempting to clear this hill, some of the attacks went off this way. We've got this poor unit, which chased down a Spanish unit to here, then got fired at and ran off. Largely, I've cleared the hill, except for this one hedgehog here. But I don't know how good a shape it's all in. Got some Swedish cav there. Everything's getting kind of mixed up with Spanish units over on this side, I think, although they may have all been destroyed. The two Swedish cav wings kind of muddled together. It becomes very, very difficult to distinguish what's what at this point in the game. Anyway, we've got one more make ready down here. And we finish things up moving to turn 10 here. I'll put him on the board in a second, but artillery moving a little bit more, some of these screens in place. Yeah. I don't know. These Spaniards are running God knows where, and they're running out of room to run to. They've got a chance of actually getting back into good morale through the magic of the table that says, hey, I got nowhere to go. They also have a chance of running off the board completely at that point. But we have the Swedes beginning to push forward. They jumped into charge, which didn't do a lot. Felt like, uh-oh, we're too close now. Going to have to go over and doing advancing fire with a formation hit. That's not really pleasant, although it's really no worse than going into open order in its own way. But then I switched back to make ready so I could convert them into the open order, because if I'm going to go down and up the hill again, that's what I got to do. And likewise, these guys, I've got to get these cav out of here. They're not my formation, but everything's just such a mess there. Everything's in the way. There's this huge traffic jam. Finally cleared that hedgehog, though. That ran damned if I know where. Oh, there it is. And there's a chance that, I don't know, at least it's gone. But I gotta remember, that's the command for that. Just put it on top of it. Try to remember it that way. Alright, onward. A little bit more confusion here in turn 10 as to moving the wrong unit first. This command here, the cav on the hill, they were in charge and I didn't see that. Ended up moving some of the make readies first. I don't know which. Pretty sure I moved the Spanish one first. I can't even remember now. But anyway, basically what we've got is the Swedes have pretty much cleared this hill, but on the other side, the Imperial troops over here have pushed Kratz's army or wing out of the way largely. Now that's commanded by this colonel, I think, here. He hasn't gone yet. It's just turned into this mess in terms of where everybody is. This can go away now. That wing is gone. That's the one that was holding the reserve here. And the Spanish here have gone. The commander of something went under, didn't he? I don't know. I've got the big infantry ready to move though next. That's going to be the big effect. I want to get them into a charge, but I want it to get people out of the way now. I can't get this thing out of the way. That's annoying. But other than that, I kind of wanted to get some guys out of the way, and I want to get these guys up on the hill soon afterwards as a follow-up. We'll see how that all works out. And we push through the end of turn 10. See the first instances of salvo fire happening. Only reason for that is, well, the Swedes figured, hey, we want to break the morale of that unit. Maybe we could advance. They didn't get that, but then, you know, the Catholics said, well, if you're going to use that, we'll use it too. Salvo fire is kind of a weird thing. If you time it right, it's bonus. Like if you know it's the last fire you're going to make with that unit. Because it gives you a penalty to your chance to hit otherwise. And for example, this unit did not want to use it because it wanted to cause casualties. But here, well, the chance of breaking those Swedes is pretty low. And that's what salvo fire really does. It can increase the hits a little bit, but it could also reduce them. But what it definitely does is it forces a morale check, and that can be terribly useful. The Swedes wanted to do that here. The high morale of the Swedes means that the morale check probably doesn't mean that much, so in a sense it's not really that valuable a thing. And we're beginning to see the Spaniards swinging the center up to take its position, as the Swedes have pretty much taken this entire hill. I've got some routing units to take care of here and here, and some other cleanup. Oh, he's got a chance. He'll just disappear if he's not there. He's the army. He's the secondary army commander. Yeah, he's going in the pile. I don't think there's a replacement for him. I don't know. Maybe one of the other wing leaders would go up, but the Catholic wing is just or the Catholic command structure is so screwed up that it doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's no obvious wing leaders who should be promoted to be Catholic leader overall. I do have Duke Charles. He would be the last remaining person with any stature to take over as the leader of all the Spaniards. Putting up turn 11 here, Duke Charles was in charge. He couldn't get, Charles in charge. He couldn't get out of it. Now, his forces are just so densely packed that there aren't a lot of opportunities for them to do anything about this situation. But we had somebody come charging around the river here, leaving poor Ferdinand alone. Ooh, that opened up a place for him to go. And that's good enough. This guy's formation broken, so he's not really able to do anything. But here after being bounced out of there, they ended up taking the Woods Hex and destroying a unit there. So even though they don't want to charge, the Swedes that they're facing, whoever this guy is, who's now on the run somewhere, the colonel or whatever back here, his force is just so wrecked that even this sort of half-hearted charge that's been going one hex at a time and finally ground into them is enough to just drive them away. These units that don't want to attack even. Where do we end up after this? Oh, I gotta find. I got a couple of these, bunch of those actually. And since we just did the Spaniards, we'll be taking a Swedish one. Well, that traffic jam's gotten so bad that I essentially can't move any of the Swedes, really. When I looked at this guy, I finally fired him, shot him up enough that he left. Not using salvo fire this time. Third round was used to advance, the second continuation. But pretty much everything else was stuck. These guys, eventually I got them into charge, so they were able to use advancing fire, but that's pretty ineffectual against that Cav. But I got a problem. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. He could run, but then he'd end up getting shot up by other units. So it's just getting so dense and so dangerous to be in this area. Grinding, you know, the big heavy infantries against each other is fine. Grinding stuff in between them is a really unpleasant situation where the infantry can't advance, but, you know, it may not be facing the unit at once. Hey, I've got an attack here I can make. I think I'll make that charge again. Oh, this guy should have fled. I don't know why he's there. Anyway, I've got I don't know if I want to make that attack. Here's the problem. You make an attack even against routed units, and you take your formation hit. The only thing that you don't get it from is the... I may be mistaken about that. Let me look that up. But no matter what, I'm going to take a... yeah... No, I better look that up, because if I don't take a formation hit, I do want to hit him. He shouldn't have stayed there, though. Yeah, I think if I chase these guys, I'll take a formation hit, and that is not where I want to be. I don't want to be in this hex facing formed good units with that. But if I shoot him, I can eventually force a morale check. Actually, he's going to have a problem, because he's got to go somewhere at some point. I think he had to go somewhere last round, but he's really got nowhere to go. make a roll, make sure. It's too late now. He stayed in routed formation, and I don't know how to handle that. I'm screwing up a lot of things at this point because I'm devoting so much effort to trying to puzzle out the situation that I'm forgetting how to play, essentially. Oh, well. So that's going to put the activation over on the Spaniards in the cav, and they really want to try to form up, I think, still. Ah, boy. Okay. So after the Swedes grind their way up here, and we got these guys kind of reforming up there too, Gallus tried to rally his forces here. The firepower took him out and his troops. Great. Okay, now we come to one of those situations where, you know, when you hear about a leader who just gets caught up in a rout for what seems like almost no reason. You hear about it with Charlie Lee, or a number of situations, especially in the earlier period like this. Well, we got one right now. What happened? Probably something stupid, but I used Piccolomini, ran him over to this unit in order to rally it, okay? I'm in received charge. That's not the best formation to choose to do this because my chance of getting a continuation is only 0 through 3. I didn't get it. And that means 1, 2, 3, 4. Piccolomini just ran off the map, and that's a serious oops on the part of mine. Of course, to kind of make up for that, Horn got shot trying to rally some units over there. Oh well. We'll see. You don't want to see these, you know, valuable leaders, the ones with a modifier, running off the map, getting killed, whatever. But I'm just having too much trouble keeping track of things right now to handle everything properly. And, well, we'll let it happen. Let's take some rolls, though. Let's see if Piccolomini comes about. This guy is running. He's got like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's almost off the map. Alright, Piccolomini's out. Oh, wait, there's a modifier. Hold on. Isn't there? Maybe not. Okay, well, they're both in trouble unless there's a modifier, in which case Piccolomini will be on. I gotta check to see if there is. There isn't one listed here. Yeah, no modifier, so all we got is Colonel back here, and another one to replace, because Horn's now been replaced by the infantry general. This is just turning into a royal mess. But, you know, it's not decided yet, I'd say. I think the Swedes are still doing a little better than the Spaniards are, or the Catholics are. Certainly not enough to win this scenario, but it makes it kind of more interesting. I'm not being terribly cautious here with them. So I think I'm kind of fulfilling the you must attack part of the game. The only question is, well, do I drive them from the field largely, or do I manage to cause more casualties? All those things kind of come into play. I think if you walk away from this saying, oh, look, you know, for this victory conditions for this scenario, I'm looking at, let's see, yeah, that's not so bad. You know, I mean, you got to cause significantly more losses, but that's not so terrible. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I don't think the Swedes are doing all that badly. It looks like there's a significantly larger number of Spanish forces. We're talking like 40 points here or so, which I think if the Spanish don't get chased off the hill, they more or less can claim a victory with that, I guess. I don't know. Ooh, I forgot about these cannons. They're worth a lot. Of course, there's a lot of yummies up there that you got to take. Alright, I'm going to load this one up. I've just been babbling for the sake of babbling. I think I forgot to move this. I don't know. Shit. I think so. I think we're going into turn 12. It's a long